Hello everybody, this is the Traditionalist, and I will be doing part 2 of the last video, and so I will be continuing my rebuttal of AJ Plus's video, so here it is.
Christian nationalism has also infiltrated the executive branch. The Trump administration recently decided to bar health clinics that give or refer people for abortions from receiving any federal funding, even though there were already restrictions in place to keep federal money from funding abortion itself. This move led to Planned Parenthood losing $60 million in funding.
Oh yeah, because my tax dollars should go to murdering millions, no actually tens of millions of innocent children. Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Oh, how dare he do that?
Trump's decision was directly aided by the right-wing Christian group Alliance Defending Freedom, whose former head wrote the book The Homosexual Agenda, exposing the principal threat to religious freedom today. Though, to be fair, The Homosexual Agenda was the runner-up name for the new season of Queer Eye. Can you believe?
You know, thanks for telling me about that book. I think I might buy it one day. Now, also, yes, the gays do have an agenda. And if you don't think they do, then you're dumb. Everyone has an agenda, including the gays, and just like everyone else, they want to take over society, which they basically already are, with their stupid pride parades, forcing everyone to accept their stupid beliefs. I mean, I was in Vancouver, not even a month ago, and there were signs on the stores saying if you say anything against the LGBTQ community, then you can potentially go to jail. So, yeah, no, it's not like the gay agenda doesn't exist. And yes, they are a danger to all of us.
Also, remember Jeff Sessions? Small fella, full of hate. As Attorney General, he set up a religious liberty task force to make sure the government interprets religious liberty as broadly as possible. He claimed it was necessary because, quote, one group can actively target religious groups by labeling them hate groups.
Yeah, because that's exactly what leftists always do. They call everyone they disagree with hate groups, so that way they can get them banned. And probably this video could get banned too.
But if you're claiming religious liberty to denounce people you don't agree with as inferior or sinners whose very existence threatens your own morality, you are a hate group that often...
Yeah, what hate crime? When was the last time you saw a Christian going up and shooting a bunch of faggots in a parade? Yeah, never.
Then there are the courts. Trump has appointed 2 Supreme Court justices and 129 district and appeals court judges. As of April, 90% of Trump's nominees were white and 75% were men, because of course. And
you know, for someone who's always complaining about racism and sexism, you seem to be pretty racist and sexist yourself, pointing out that 90% are white and 75% are men, as if that makes them any inferior. Okay, first of all, the US is a majority white country, and so you shouldn't be surprised if 90% of the people appointed are white. And also, men just tend to be more interested in these kind of things, which is why there are more of them. Now, if I'd said, oh, but look, 90% of them are black and 75% were women, then people would call me racist and sexist. But because, you know, honestly, that would be true. The fact is, you can't claim to be against racism but then be racist against somebody just because of their skin color or just because of what gender they are. The fact is, they were probably chosen because of how competent they are, not because they were just men or white.
Trump's Supreme Court justices Neil Gorsuch and Veer Kavanaugh were huge victories for Christian nationalists that are paying off. The court ruled that Christian-backed crisis pregnancy centers that deliberately mislead women about abortion could freely operate. They allowed the ban on transgender people serving in the military to go into effect, and they'll soon rule on whether LGBTQ people are still protected under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which, if overturned, could mean employees could be fired for their sexuality or gender identity.
Oh yeah, telling pregnant women they should actually, I don't know, keep their own children instead of just murdering them on a whim. Oh no, that is totally misleading. Yeah, but the transgenders in the military, yeah, those people are so sick that I'm glad I would never have to be with one of those creeps in the military. Like, they're just so weird and crazy, and yes, it is a mental illness. But yeah, they should probably, I don't know, just be turned back to normal or go to some place with other psychos. And finally, the thing about LGBTQIA2 community being protected, why should they be any more protected than anyone else? They are probably one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful group in the US, and yet they need some special protection. I thought they were strong and independent.
What about the religious liberty of other religions? Have they been more protected? No. Back in February, a Muslim death row inmate in Alabama was denied having an imam by his side at his upcoming execution, a move he said violated his First Amendment rights. The Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision disagreed and said the execution could proceed without the imam present.
Oh yeah, it's so wrong to let a convicted criminal who is about to be executed not have an imam who represents the most violent and barbaric religion in the world. Oh, how sad. You liberals should be outraged by Islam, but instead you embrace it.
These are cookie-cutter Christian laws, and they run the gamut from making Bible literacy a requirement in public schools to banning gay adoption. But the ones that have been passed in 6 states already are the In God We Trust bills, which mandate that slogan go up in public schools.
The Bible is the book that has influenced Western civilization more than any other book. So yeah, being required to read it is not horrible. I was required to read the Odyssey, which is a pagan text, even though I'm not pagan, but it is one of the most important pieces of Western literature, and so I wasn't going all nuts about that. Now, once again, about the gay adoption thing, yeah, you need 2 parents and 2 parents of different genders. And also, In God We Trust, yeah, that's one of the mottos of the United States. So yeah, just putting one of the mottos of your own country in your school is hardly a crime.
One Florida lawmaker even sponsored a verbatim version of one of those In God We Trust bills, and she introduced it a week after the Parkland school massacre.
It is not a secret that we have some gun issues that need to be addressed. But the real thing that needs to be addressed are issues of the heart. I ask you to stand with me today in support of this bill that's so simple, just saying put a poster up to remind our children of the foundation of this country.
Sure, it'll be a comforting last thing children see while hiding under their desks. And she probably calls herself pro-life, huh?
Oh yeah, because giving guns to those kids hiding under their desks so that they can defend themselves is totally against life.
The scariest part about Christian nationalism is the way that it preys on the fear that Christianity is somehow going away. In fact, according to one study of the 2016 election, quote, voting for Donald Trump was for many Americans a Christian nationalist response to perceived threats to that identity. But the US is still about 70% Christian, and yet, just as with immigration, the perception that Christianity or whiteness as a race are under attack fuels a hate-based agenda, and that has led to real threats and fatal attacks on religious minorities.
You have to be a complete fool to think that Christianity is not in decline in the United States. Now that said, thank God, a lot of Americans are still sane, and the US is really the only Western country where there's actually a sizable amount of real Christians, but still they are on the decline, and all you have to do is just look at a couple of statistics. So I'm not going to go on for that long about this. Also, why are you bringing race into this? Like, I get that you're leftist and therefore you're always obsessed with race, but yeah, Christianity and whiteness have nothing to do with each other, because Jesus, he was not even white, he was a Jew. So don't bring your whiteness stuff into this.
White supremacist mass shooters have targeted synagogues, a Sikh temple, and okay, there was an attack on a Christian church, but they were all black.
So this retard is blaming Christians for what white supremacists are doing, despite the fact that a white atheist was killing a bunch of black Christians. So yeah, it's totally the Christians' fault, right?
The premise of our country isn't rooted in the Bible. It's on the Enlightenment, reason, democracy, religious tolerance, slavery.
So despite the US being founded by Christians who wanted to have religious freedom and have a society based on the Bible, no, the US has nothing to do with the Bible. And the origins of the US are not in the Bible, they're in the Enlightenment. Yes, the origins of the US are in the Enlightenment, but they are also in the Bible. In fact, those are the roots of Western civilization, the Enlightenment and the Bible.
Not only are Christian nationalists hijacking the nation, they're hijacking Christianity. As the best-worst former cabinet member Omarosa reminded us about Vice President Pence,
he's extreme. I'm Christian, I love Jesus, but he thinks Jesus tells him to say things that I'm like, Jesus ain't say that.
God, I love that quote. So yes, I do think we should build the wall, the one between church and state, because that border is porous, and I would look terrible in a bonnet.
Oh, so basically you get a mediocre, lukewarm Christian to attack another Christian, and then you use her as your role model of Christians. Also, once again, you're only going to be wearing a bonnet, or should I say a hijab, if you go to Saudi Arabia, or really any Muslim country. You know what, if you hate Christianity so much, just leave the US and move to Iran, move to Saudi Arabia, move to Algeria, move to Morocco, move to Indonesia, move to Pakistan, I don't know, just move to some Muslim country, and there you'll find out that women are so much freer. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.